Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to another episode of Vertical Stars Podcast 4th season. My loyal listeners, thank you for continued support. This is an amazing episode because Gianni DeCenzo boards the mothership to discuss Cobra Kai on Netflix. Now, come on board as we go traversing the stars. Hi, Gianni. Thanks for coming to Traverse the Stars podcast.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's totally my pleasure. My students and the Cornell crew are super excited for they get to talk with you. So I'm super excited as well, and thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm very excited that they're enjoying the show so much. I love that I get to be a part of something that people enjoy. It's great.
Cobra Kai, it's such a surprise hit when it first came out six seasons ago. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone knew what it was going to be, but now it's really this massive cultural phenomenon, especially on Netflix.
Hmm.
So, what do you attribute it to, and what does it feel like to be on a show that's big?
I mean, honestly, I just got to give it up to the fans. I mean, even from the beginning when we were on YouTube Originals, it was such an underground thing, but we had such loyal and dedicated fans that they kind of blew it up. And when it, finally came time for us to move homes, it was like for season three, they had just like built us up so much that we were able to move over to Netflix. So yeah, I got to give it up to them. And then also the creators. They themselves are huge fans of the
Mhm.
original Karate Kid like franchise. And so the last thing that they would want to do is ruin something for, everyone else. And so they put so much time and effort into, crafting these stories each season. And they always top each season. I don't know how they do it. Like from season one, I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna, beat this one, and then they always do. And yeah, I can't wait for people to see how they top part two. It's gonna be insane.
It looks really, really good, and I'm excited to see what they do. Now,
Uh,
how did you get involved with the show to begin with?
it was crazy. I just auditioned for it. It was a one-off audition. It was the cafeteria scene where we first meet Demetri, and he's talking about like hand jobs and stuff, which was great. And yeah, I did that one audition. I think I did the scene twice. And that weekend, they told me that they needed me to fly out to Atlanta to film. They had been looking for someone for a long time, a couple of months. I mean, they, they checked everywhere. But yeah, they got like down to the wire literally the week before, and here I was. It was great.
Now, the trick is with Cobra Kai as an actor, you got to be a good actor. Demetri is
Mhm.
also comedic relief as well, and you got to be a
Mhm.
martial artist. How familiar were you with
Yeah.
martial arts before you got the role, and how much did you have to learn very quickly when you got it?
Dude, I did not think I'd have to do this much karate when I became an actor. I mean, seriously. Well, so I did Krav Maga, which, for anyone that doesn't know, it's like an Israeli sort of technique that they use in the military, I think. Which is, it's really fun and it's very practical, but it's not as flashy. Like, we don't have, big tornado kicks or anything like that. I mean, nine times out of ten, my leg is never going above my hips. It's staying down. But I when it came to Cobra Kai, I really had to push myself. And luckily, we have an amazing stunt team. They train us for everything. They put us to work, man. I did my stretches. I can now touch my toes, which I'm very proud of. I couldn't do that when I first started this show. Who knows if I'll maintain that skill? We'll see. But it's been awesome. I mean, getting to learn karate for free, it's a dream come true. And then I get to show it off to everyone. It's cool. It's awesome.
Is it harder to, is it the comedic timing harder, or is it the martial art choreography harder?
I mean, for me, it's the martial arts because it's kind of like a dance, and I'm not the best dancer in the world. And there's a lot of trust with your partner. You really got to pay attention to them. They got to pay attention to you. I mean, it's seriously like a dance. And for the comedy stuff, I've always kind of loved and gravitated towards comedy more. So I think it was a bit more second nature to me. I mean, I hate to admit it, but I'm pretty similar to Dimitri. I don't get beat up as often as he does, hopefully.
Not anymore, at least.
But yeah, yeah, we'll see. Not anymore. Yeah, but for me, it was definitely the karate. It was a challenge, but a fun challenge. It was great.
And I think what's really cool about your character is that your character has experienced so much growth from season one to season six,
Mhm.
part one. Because when you first
Yeah.
were entered Cobra Kai, you were portrayed as this kind of geeky, awkward kid.
Yeah.
So how did you first kind of approach that side of the character, and how have you experienced the growth of the character over the last 6 years?
Well, in the beginning, it was pretty easy because I was in a very similar position to Demetri. You know, I was a sophomore in high school when I first got the part, and I was kind of a wiry, awkward, kind of looking kind of guy. And it just, I don't know, I just got to develop the character over time. You get to work with this character for so many years. You learn a thing or two about him. It's one of the great parts about kind of getting to portray the same character for years and years and years. Um, and then when he got better at karate, I really kind of wanted to maintain who he is as a person, because if you look, no matter how good he got, he never really like changed who he was at his core,
Hmm.
which was really fun for me. Until this final season, we get to see kind of a more bad boy side of Dimitri. He went as far as to change his hair. His best friend Hawk. He changed his hair, so he's cool now. So he kind of took a page from his book, maybe. But yeah, I really enjoyed kind of portraying him a little different this season. And we'll see how everything pans out with the final part. It's going to be crazy.
Was there a moment during that time in the transition of his character from, let's say, the geeky awkward kid to the kid who's
Mhm.
in the, a great martial artist? Like, so he made it to the final
Yeah.
six of the when they were being picked for a Miyagi-Do. Was there a
Uh,
moment that you can tell that that was the moment of transition where you knew that this was where your character went from what the younger version to now he's the Demetri
yeah.
that he's in season six?
I mean, for me, I think the transition for Dimitri was when he had that kind of big argument with Hawk, like, oh my God,
Mhm.
you're not going to the same college as me? What the heck, man? He kind of was coming from a more like hurt place. He was very hurt there. But I would say the clear transition is the next day when his hair is like kind of up in like a big pompadour. He's like, no, 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 this is the new me. I'm choosing this. Um, he's just trying out new things. He's like any other high schooler, trying to find himself still. And I think it was fun because I, as the actor, was also trying to find him this season. I was like, okay, where is my headspace this time around? It was really cool.
And honestly, I mean, MIT, which everyone should know is one of the most premier schools, is a
Uh,
super important thing to Dimitri, right? He talks about it all the
yeah.
time to the point where Hawk is going to beat the crap over it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's fair. It's warranted. Yeah.
but I mean, obviously, MIT is going to be his future. Martial arts and the Tekai Sekai, sorry, I'm really bad pronouncing things, is
Oh, no,
coming
you're
up as
right.
well. What is his priority? Is his priorities in the right place, and is his head in the right
Mm.
space for to do in this tournament?
I think in the beginning, his head definitely is not in the right space, because he's kind of got a lot on his shoulders as far as what he needs to prove. Because, in the beginning, Yasmin's kind of like, no, what, you're good at karate, go do this. And he's like, okay, yeah, no, you're right, I am good at karate. And now his best friend, he thinks, is abandoning him. So he's like, okay, well, I don't need you then. I'm pretty cool on my own. So I think definitely his head is not in the right space. We'll see how if he can reconcile that. But yeah, he's got a lot to figure out for himself.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting because a lot of his identity goes through Hawk as well. I mean, they're the
Mhm.
binary bros. They're kind of locked into each other. You know what I'm saying? They're a
Yeah,
pairing in many ways. What does it
yeah.
say about Dimitri that he's willing, in many ways,
Mhm.
to push that aside a little bit?
I think it just really shows just how hurt he is, and how betrayed he felt, because through thick and thin, I mean, he forgave him after Hawk broke his arm, man. I mean, that's you got to be a pretty big person to do that. I would be a little bit more upset if I were him. But they have such an awesome relationship, and I think deep down he doesn't want to end the relationship. He's kind of lashing out a bit, because, like I said, he's hurt, and it just really goes to show like this is affecting him, because for their entire lives they've kind of just had each other. They were always picked on, and they were like, okay, this is the plan. We're going to stick together. We're going to go to MIT together. We're going to rule the world with our robot concoctions. And now that's kind of being flipped around. because Hawk is sort of figuring out his own path. So it's yeah, he's definitely hurt.
I mean, it seems pretty clear that Hawk is not making it going to MIT. It doesn't even necessarily seem like his interest was is MIT any longer.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, when Demetri goes to MIT, that friendship is going to be splintered a bit. Can it
Mm.
survive? Is it recoverable after they both go their ways in colleges? Is this,
Yeah.
is it time for, is he now moving on Demetri completely and realizing it?
I mean, there is you kind of have these friends in high school, and sometimes you do grow apart from each other. But I really don't see that happening between the binary bros because, like I said, they've beaten each other up. I mean, they've broken bones. I kicked Hawk into a trophy case. They've been through a lot, and they are still friends. So even though their interests might change a little bit over time, I think that they can still like identify with each other like, oh, you're my best friend, I'm your best friend. It's just one of those friendships that is a lifetime thing. They're gonna be in their 90s still beating each other up. It's gonna be great. But we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Right. Obviously, no spoilers for part two, unless you want to give something, No, the interesting thing about, and talking about Dimitri and talking about you, Johnny, as the actor,
Oh.
you've had 6 years Cobra Kai to grow as an actor, and as an individual,
Mm.
you were started in high school, around that, and now obviously you're developing as an actor. What has it been like to grow not only for martial arts but as an actor around all these other young people who are also now growing as actors and people at the same time as you during on the show?
It's been insane. I mean, seriously, because like I said, I was a sophomore in high school. I was like 15 or 16 at the time. I turned 18 on set, and I really got to know these guys over, like you said, 7 years. So it's really been cool to kind of grow up with them. And as an actor working on a show for like 7 years has taught me a lot about how to handle myself on set, how to handle characters, how to work as a team. Because for better or for worse, these are my people. These are my peers. I mean, we're gonna be working together forever because it is also a very small industry. So, the odds of us being on set together is, pretty big. Whether or not we're beating each other up on that set, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully not. I'm in so much pain. My joints need a break. No, but I think it's been really awesome to grow up with them, and yeah, I've learned a lot from them and from set. It's been great.
Is it hard to be an actor in an ensemble cast? Because on the one hand, as an actor, you want to shine. Obviously you want to shine, but you
Mm,
need to also serve the ensemble. How
yeah.
difficult is it to kind of lessen your an ego to make sure you're serving the greater group?
I mean, nothing can ever lessen my ego. I'm the most self-centered person on the face of the earth. No, I really enjoyed working in an ensemble like kind of cast because you just kind of have each other's back. Um, and there will be other projects in the future where maybe I'm leading in something or they're leading in something, and then there's going to be other stuff where you're just a guest star or you're just supporting. Uh, as an actor, you're really just kind of there to help serve the story and to work as a team. Even if you are the lead, you're still like a part of a team. I just really enjoy being in an ensemble too. It's just fun to kind of work off of each other. They're all great, especially when they beat me up.
Well, obviously the actor you had the most scenes with, or many scenes with, is Jacob Bertrand. If I'm pronouncing it correctly,
Oh,
hopefully I am.
oh yeah.
What does he like to work with? I guess spill the tea now. No, but I mean, obviously you guys have been working with each other for years. So what does he like to work with? How have you also, helped each other in throughout this experience of being actors on this hit show as well?
He's terrible. He's the worst. Unprofessional. No. He's a really great guy. I mean, yeah, he was the person I had the most scenes with. And I think it was just one of those things where we just have like pretty great chemistry together on the screen. It works really well. And we actually never met each other until we did like the cafeteria scene. He was also the first person that I ever met. They were like, "Oh, here's your binary bro. Here you go. Have fun." I was like, "Okay, great, awesome." Um, Yeah, no, I think I'm just very fortunate to have someone as great as Jacob. He's great. Me, Jacob, and Cholo, who plays Miguel, we all just kind of hang out together sometimes. I was just over at Cholo's house. We were playing like poker. It was they took all my money. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm very grateful to have such a great cast of people because it could have been who knows who could have been on this show. There's no divas on our set,
Well, I mean,
fortunately.
that's the part that's kind of incredible because if the chemistry between the binary bros didn't work, the show
Oh,
would have suffered greatly. And it's hard. I can imagine it's not easy to have chemistry with like a stranger. Hey, automatic, this just so happens. I mean,
yeah.
what are the odds that that grouping you and Jacob worked so well together on the show?
It's I think I don't know what the odds of that would be because I mean they seriously looked around everywhere for all of our characters. I mean they left no stone unturned. Um, it's just one of those things. It just kind of works. I don't know how to explain it. We just work well off of each other. Who knows? Maybe we'll do like a Binary Bros spinoff one day. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Honestly, as we get to a question, one of them was going to be the
Oh,
student that helped me with these questions. When the question was, "Is there going to be a spinoff?" And I know probably can't talk about it, but I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. What do you know?
I mean, hey, anything's possible. I love playing the part of Demetri. I know Jacob loves playing Hawk, so if people want to see it, if we make it, I'd be down. Who knows?
Well, the interesting thing about Demetri too is that we're seeing as you said, the bad boy side of Demetri.
Yeah.
Depending on your definition, and I'm sure my wife would have a very clear definition of this. Dimitri cheated on his girlfriend in Barcelona.
Oh, oh.
That's what it seems like to me. I mean, I know they're just dancing, but I know, like some, but my wife would point that out as being
Yeah.
a cheat. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely like, okay, man, what are you doing? Because they're both like kind of gawking at her. They're like, oh my God, she's so pretty. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna dance with you. Are you crazy? I think it's definitely like, okay, what are you doing? It wasn't cool at all. But he's trying to figure himself out. He makes some mistakes along the way. I feel bad for my boy Dimitri though. Poor guy, he's got to figure it out.
well, he's gonna have a problem when he gets home. Is all I'm saying. When he gets back,
Yeah,
that
yeah, he's gonna.
Haas recorded that. They
Yeah,
know.
yeah, he's gonna have an issue. We'll see. He's gonna have a lot of explaining to. She's gonna beat him up. Everyone will love beating him up.
I
God.
mean, was that like an impulsive decision you think on his part, or think it was a constant decision of this is the my relationship,
Yeah,
going forward, I can explore wherever I want now. That's where my
yeah.
relationship.
I think it is a bit of an impulse like decision on his part. I think that he was really trying to like feel himself and like figure himself out. He's like, okay, I everyone around me is telling me I gotta like be cooler or I gotta be tougher. Fine, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be super cool. I'm gonna go talk to all these women. I'm gonna really try to explore my surroundings. Yeah, like I said, he's just a high schooler trying to figure things out, man. And he makes some mistakes, a lot of mistakes.
So when you're thinking about the Tekai Sakai, I always don't get to pronounce it. I'm doing about Tekai Sakai.
The
Um,
Psychi. Oh God, now I can't.
I know my
The
students
Sekai
yelling
Taikai.
at the
Oh
screen
God.
with the actual how to pronounce it, and I'm blowing it. But um,
We had trouble on set. Everyone, we had to like meet up as a group and decide like, okay, this is how we're saying it because everyone, I think, every scene was saying it a little different. Hopefully, it's not too bad, too noticeable in the show.
I mean, obviously, no spoilers. I know it's part two. There's gonna be a lot of this discussed.
Oh,
Um, how is that tournament helping Dimitri to grow?
I think it's really teaching him a lot about working well with others because especially this season he's kind of become a bit self-centered, I would say, or he's like really trying to figure himself out and he really wants to prove himself, but at the expense of his team. And so he's really got to learn the lesson of like, okay, I can be confident in who I am, but I can also support others. It's okay to be a support for someone else. And then also like this is like the biggest tournament in the world, which for him to be able to be a part of that, like going from a nerd getting his backpack thrown into a pile of yogurt to now fighting on an international level is it's insane. But yeah, I would say the biggest lesson for him is like working as a team.
Now, during the filming of this part one of season six, especially towards the
Oh,
tournament part,
oh,
um, there's some legit, real martial artists
yeah,
performing. Now,
yeah.
what has it? I mean, what was that like as an actor who is also, learning the martial arts to be with these who are professional, hardcore martial artists?
It's so intimidating, man. I mean, seriously, Daniel, who plays Quan, I think is a fifth degree black belt,
Jesus.
or like he's a master at, at martial arts, and so he's doing things that even the stunt performers couldn't replicate. Like he was flying through the air, just it's absolutely insane. And he's also a really nice guy, even though he could like probably beat everyone up like in an instant. Um, yeah, it's just crazy to see like what people are capable of.
Hmm.
And they really brought this season up a notch, I would say, because the stuff that they do this season is so insane. I'm just trying to keep up, man. I can just touch my toes. I That's all I got. That's what I'm bringing to the table. Sorry.
Well, I know this is a question everyone's always going to be wondering about. Did you ever make
Oh,
contact? Like in the choreography, obviously you're not supposed to. Did you ever
yeah.
actually make some contact?
I never did. I can say, oh, not this season at least. I have in the past. Um, there was this one scene where I was training with Ralph Macchio, Daniel,
Yeah, yeah,
and I throw like a kick over his head, and he's supposed to like duck down. And we had just learned that because the stunt team is the one that they train us, and
yeah.
they are kind of always on the move, so they get to us like whenever they can. And so we learned like right before we started rolling. And we got our timing a little messed up because right as my leg was over his head, he came up like into my leg. And so I did a midair split. His head like practically went into his chest. It was like crazy. I
Beat up the
definitely don't
boss?
recommend kicking your yeah, I don't recommend kicking your boss. It's I was worried. Um, but he's a professional. We're all professional. It was great. I don't think there was any serious contact this season. There's a big final fight though, and it can get a little crazy. But no, I at least I didn't. No contact.
Perfect. So this is a very important question. This
Oh,
is from one of my students. His name is Edin M. And this will be his question. So I'm going to read it to make sure I get it exactly right. But he's a huge fan of yours, and he helped me with a lot of these questions. So I want to make sure he gets the shout out that he deserves. So this is Edin's
oh,
M
yeah.
question. He wants to
Thank you.
say, this is my personal question from Edin M is that I'm a huge fan of the show and all the Karate Kid movies. My question to the myth, the legend, the GOAT, Gianni DeCenzo, one of the Binary Brothers, is the upcoming season six finale. Will we see more Cobra Kai spin-off with you in them in the future? And if you could, pretty please summarize season six, part three, in 5 words, what would they be?
Eden, thank you so much for your questions. I really appreciate it, man. Dude, you are awesome. Um, yeah, I can say as far as any sort of spin-off sort of a thing, there's a million possibilities. I know that the creators are constantly thinking about how they can continue on the Karate Kid legacy. And I can speak for myself and I think for everyone else. We love playing these parts. I love playing Demetri. And whatever people want to see, I'm always there, man. I'm down to keep fighting. I'll fight for you, man. I got your back. And then 5 words for the part three. Oh gosh. Okay, wait. Let me think. Okay. This final part is insane. That's that's all I can legally say. Um, but a few more words. I mean, it's really gonna be amazing. I would say it's the cherry on top of everything that we have been working on for the past 6 years, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Like seriously, it's gonna be great. Hope you enjoy.
Now the rumors I had heard, and once again, you probably can't answer it, but if you can, obviously, is that there's going to be Cobra Kai films after the show's
Mm.
over on Netflix. Is that something that you've heard as well? Is there a door open for it or not?
I don't know about any Cobra Kai. I know that there is a Karate Kid Legends, I think it's called, with Ralph and was it Jackie Chan? I think that that's going to be coming out. It's I don't know when. I think this year, but I know that Ralph was like having to go back and forth from Atlanta to go film like that movie. And I think it is connected to the karate or the Cobra Kai world. But I don't know about any like specific Cobra Kai movie. But if there is one, you better believe I'll be there.
You better be. And like I said, you're the Binary Brothers, in my opinion, watching the show is one of the main fuels that keep that show fun and
Yeah.
interesting. You know?
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh no,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Like I said, there's so many good scenes with your character, and I really have enjoyed watching the Hawk, Demetri. I don't say they didn't necessarily crack the friendship, but that
Uh-huh.
struggle was a very
Yeah.
interesting thing to watch that develop. And I think it's something that most people who are in high school, 18, are going to deal with because
Yeah.
most of us, or most people, had to leave their friends because they didn't go to the same school. It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
And I kind of think it's interesting to watch you live that out for the kids who are about to experience
Mm.
that.
Yeah, I'm glad that I can help people kind of deal with their own sort of, oh, my friend's leaving me sort of a thing, because I've definitely had to deal with that too. I mean, I graduated 2020, and I've had people that, had to leave the state to go wherever to do college. So yeah, man, I've been there. Dimitri's kind of there right now. So you're not alone, and if it's a great friendship like the Binary Bros, it'll always be around. So don't worry about it.
So two final questions.
Uh,
The first one is there a favorite episode of yours, and what's next for you?
ooh, okay. I would say my favorite episode is, I don't know which specific episode it is. It's in season 4. It is the episode where we do our katas and weapon demonstrations. I got to do my kamas, and I trained for like 3 months straight, the entire length of production, just like practicing that one routine. And I got pretty good at it. I'm not gonna lie. We did 2 takes for that whole thing, and it just, yeah, no mess ups. Luckily, it was perfect. And I'm really proud of how it turned out. There was actually one take where, and I think it's in the final version, where I'm spinning my comma in my hand, and it like I accidentally let go, and it starts spinning around in the air, but I catch it, so it looks like I did it on purpose. I think that's in there. That was not on purpose. That was not in the performance, but I did it. And yeah, I think that was great. And then what was the other question?
What's next for you?
Oh, what's next? Oh, so now that we're finishing up the show, I actually wanted to try a little bit of my own writing, because I've just really been inspired by what the creators of the show did with this, franchise. I think it was amazing. And so I've been working on a couple of different TV show ideas and a couple of movies, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's out there. And then, of course, I'm just going to keep acting because it's what I love to do. So stay tuned.
Well, like I said, anything you do next, come back on the show. I would love to talk with you. Um, like I said, my kids, when I release this episode, are going to be freaking out. So, Gianni, you've been fantastic, and thank you so much for doing this for me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Goodbye, kids. I will see you all in the next one. We're going to be doing this one again real soon. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Furnace Stars podcast. Please like and subscribe. Turn for the next episode when J.G. Jones and Phil Bram boards the mothership to discuss Dust to Dust from Image Comics. To next voyage, travel on.